Hello, welcome to the presentation on data analysis and digital communication tools in Lean Management. Lean Management is not just about processes and principles. Its strength also lies in working with real data. It is not enough to just set up processes and hope they work. You need to measure, analyze, and improve them. Data give us a clear picture of what really is going on in an organization, allowing us to identify bottlenecks, identify the root causes of problems, and make decisions based on facts, not feelings. The digital tools allows us to communicate faster, more clearly, and more efficiently. In an era where we collaborate across departments and countries, effective communication is key to success. In this lesson, we will show you how to combine lean principles with data analysis tools, what methods help us find the root causes of problems, and how we can use the technologies to support the smooth flow of information. The main message is lean is not just a philosophy. It is a practical discipline based on data, tools, and people who communicate effectively with each other. To understand why data and communication are so important in lean, it is necessary to recall the five basic principles of lean management. The first principle, defining value. We need to know what is truly important to the customer. Value is not what the company thinks, but what the customer is willing to pay for. The second principle, value stream mapping. This means mapping all the steps from the inception to delivery to the customer and finding out which ones add value and which ones are just waste. The third principle, creating flow. Work should proceed smoothly and without unnecessary stops. Tasks should not be left on the table or waiting for approval for a long time. The fourth principle, implementing a pull system. Instead of tasks being pushed onto employees regardless of their capacity, work is launched based on actual demand and real possibilities of employees. Fifth principle, continuous improvement, the so-called Kaizen system. Lean is not a one-time project, but a never-ending process of finding better ways. These principles apply across all industries. In a bakery, it might mean making the types of baked goods that are in demand. In a hospital, it might mean reducing waiting times through better organization. And in a car factory, it might mean ensuring that the production line runs smoothly without downtime. Lean is based on a simple idea: focus on what is valuable to the customer and systematically eliminate everything else. One of the basic lean management tools for systematic improvement is the PDCA cycle: plan, do, check, act. First, you need to clearly identify the problem or area for improvement and set a goal. For example, a retail chain might say, we want to reduce wait times at checkouts. Then do something. The solution is designed and tested. This could be pilot test in one store, for example, opening a new self-checkout counter. Then check it. This is followed by an analysis of the results. It is monitored whether waiting times have actually been reduced and how customers react and feel about it. And then act. If the change is successful, it is implemented permanently and expanded to other branches. If not, the whole cycle repeats with a different solution until some solution is found. The power of PDCA is that it encourages continuous learning and improvement. Instead of making big, risky changes, you work in smaller steps that are continuously evaluated. PDCA can be applied to virtually anything, from manufacturing to services to education. It is a framework that helps organizations think systematically and make decisions based on data, not feelings. Next tool is the 5 whys method, or 5 whys. Its goal is to get to the root cause of the problem, not just addressing its surface manifestations. The principle is simple. When a problem arises, we repeatedly ask why until we get to the real cause. Let's take an example. A company has a problem with late deliveries. We ask, why are the deliveries delayed? Because machines often break down. Why do they break down? Because regular maintenance is not carried out. Why is not regular maintenance being carried out? Because there is not a set plan for regular maintenance. Why is there no plan for regular maintenance? Because management did not consider maintenance a priority. Why wasn't it a priority? Because it only focused on short-term goals. So the result is the real cause is not the machine itself, but a poor maintenance approach. The solution is to implement a regular preventative maintenance plan to avoid future delays and not just buying new machines or hiring new workers. The Firewise method is very simple, but extremely effective. It can be used in manufacturing services, IT, and everyday life. It is important that not only the managers ask questions, but also people who work with the problems every day are involved in the process of finding the cause. In addition to PDCA and Firewise, there are other lean tools that help analyze problems and find their causes. The first of them is the A3 report. It goes its name from the A3 paper format, which fits the entire problem analysis on one page. The report usually contains a description of the problem, a root cause analysis, proposed measures, and an implementation plan. Its advantage is brevity and clarity. Everyone sees the whole context at a glance. A3 is often used for teamwork as it helps to involve different perspectives and creates clear action plan for everyone to follow. The second tool is the fishbone diagram, also known as the Ishikawa diagram or fishbone diagram. The problem is written in the head of a fish, and the branches, the bones, represent categories of possible causes. For example, people, machines, materials, processes, or the environment. Each branch or bone is listed with specific factors that could be causing the problem. Let's take an example from a restaurant. Customers are complaining about slow service. A fishbone diagram can reveal that the problem is not just in the kitchen, but also in the poor role allocation, insufficient training, or slow cash register system. These tools have one thing in common. They visualize the problem, making it easier to understand and find the real causes. They help turn general complaints into concrete steps for improvement. Other methods that Lean uses are the 8D problem solving and DMACC. Both are used to systematically solve more complex problems. The 8D, or 8 disciplines of problem solving, is an 8-step process. First, we assemble a team. Then, we define the problem. Then, introduce temporary measures to prevent further damage. Then, find the root cause. Then, verify the proposed solutions. Then, implement a permanent measures. Then, evaluate and share results. And after that, thank the team. AD is used, for example, in automotive industry, but also in services where it's necessary to react quickly and systematically to eliminate the problem. The second method is DMAEC, which comes from Six Sigma. The acronym stands for define, where we define the problem, measure, measuring the current state of the problem, analyze, where we analyze the data and causes, improve, where we make improvements, and then control, maintaining the achieved result. DMAIC is a very powerful framework where there's a lot of data available, for example, in call centers, logistics, or manufacturing. It helps not only to solve the problem, but also to put in place control mechanisms so that this does not return again. The common denominator of both methods is emphasis on data, team collaboration, and lasting solutions. Thanks to them, the organization avoids short-term improvisation and instead builds stable and high-quality processes. In addition to the methods we have already discussed, Lean Management offers a number of other tools that can help companies become more efficient. One of the most famous is the Pareto chart, which is based on the 80-20 rule. This states that 80% of problems usually come from just 20% of causes. So if we identify those few key factors and focus on them, we can solve most problems. Another tool is Kaizen events. Short, intensive workshops where the team focuses on a specific problem and tries to come up with a practical solution within a few days. These events encourage collaboration, creativity, and quick results. Also worth mentioning is Pokajoke, which is a Japanese concept of error prevention. It involves creating processes or tools so that the error is either impossible or immediately visible. A typical example is USB connector that can only be plugged in one way, or safety fuses on machines. We can also use tools like decision-making trees that map possible scenarios or six-method thinking heads, where the problem is viewed from different angles: logical, emotional, creative, and critical. The common goal of all these tools is simple decision-making, reduce error rates, and provide a clear framework for processes and improvements. Today we showed how important role data and digital tools play in lean management. We started by recalling the principle of lean, from defining customer value to mapping the value stream to continuous improvement. We saw that philosophy alone is not enough. We also need tools that help us measure and analyze reality. We discussed the PDCA cycle as a framework for incremental improvements, the 5 whys method for finding the root causes, and tools like a free report or fishbone diagram that visualize the problems. We then looked at AD and DMSC, which provides a systematic approach to solving more complex problems. Finally, we mentioned other practical techniques, from Pareto analysis to Kaizen events to Pokaju. The main message is simple. Lean is about data, processes, and people. Data tells us where the problem is, processes provide the structure, and people bring ideas and energy for improvement. If we can connect these elements, the result is fewer errors, faster service, lower cost, and happier customers and employees. Lean reminds us improvement is not the one time action, but a continuous cycle of learning and innovation.